Okay, picture this. You're glued to a huge cricket match, right? The energy is electric, the crowd's going wild, your favorite player just smashed a six, and the camera zooms in. And you see all those logos plastered on their jersey. You recognize some, but what about the others? Ever stop and wonder what those companies are really about? Well, we're about to find out.
Oh, you've definitely seen them. These names just pop up during big games, but they're always a little vague, right? What exactly is a sporting line? Or what kind of news website has enough cash to sponsor a professional sports team? That's the real question.
So take a look at these. These are just some of the names you'll spot sponsoring teams in leagues like the TNPL or the ISL. At first glance, you might think, oh, okay, sports gear, media outlets, makes sense. But trust me, that is not the whole story, not even close. All right, it's time to peel back the curtain. What we're actually looking at here is a super sophisticated strategy. It's a massive multi-billion rupee industry that's literally hiding in plain sight. So let's decode what's really going on. The key phrase you need to know is surrogate advertising. It's basically a classic marketing workaround. You see, when you're not allowed to advertise a product directly, like, say, online betting, which is banned in many parts of India, you create a surrogate. It's a stand-in brand that shares the name and the logo, so it builds recognition for the real product without technically breaking the rules.
And here it is, the big reveal. 1xBet isn't selling you cricket bats, it's the surrogate for the massive offshore betting company 1xBet. And Dafa News? Yeah, it's not trying to be a major news network. It's a giant signpost pointing you straight to DaFaBet. It's a really simple, but you know what? It's an incredibly effective bait and switch.
And we are not talking about some small-time operation here. This is a huge, well-funded machine designed specifically to dance around legal gray areas and get in front of millions of people. So how does this whole thing actually work? Let's just start with the money, because the numbers are staggering. Back in 2022, these offshore companies spent an estimated 3,500 crore rupees just on advertising in India. And get this, experts say that spending has shot up by 30 to 40% every year since then. That is an insane amount of cash being pumped into this market. So where is all this money going? Well, this is where it gets really smart. After regulators started cracking down on their TV and newspaper ads, these companies just pivoted. They went everywhere else. They're sponsoring teams, slapping their logos on billboards and city buses, and going all in on social media influencers. They basically shifted from mass media to a much sneakier, harder-to-track approach. So how do they turn a casual viewer into an actual user? It's a pretty slick funnel. It all starts with the bait, maybe an ad with a celebrity you recognize or just a simple QR code. That leads to the hook, which pulls you into a private WhatsApp or Telegram channel, and that's where they hit you with the line. Direct links, details, and access to the real betting site, all happening completely out of the public eye. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, isn't this illegal? Well, that's where things get really, really murky. This whole industry operates in a legal gray area, and honestly, that confusion is exactly what these companies thrive on. It's a classic battle between state laws and a lack of federal action. See, on one hand, you've got states like Tamil Nadu that have flat-out banned online betting. But on the other hand, there's this massive federal loophole. There's no single central law that governs these offshore betting companies. And without that, they can just exploit all the inconsistencies between different state laws. And you can hear this frustration directly from the league officials themselves. Listen to this quote from a senior official at the Tamil Nadu Premier League. They're basically saying that without clear rules from the central government, their hands are tied. And they make it clear this isn't just a TNPL problem, it's happening all across Indian sports. But then, you flip the coin, and legal experts say the exact opposite. They argue that this kind of surrogate advertising is already a violation of existing IT rules. So you have this total standoff. One side says they can't act, the other says the law is already there. It's the perfect gray area for these companies to live. To really get why this is all blowing up right now, you have to look at the global picture. After some huge match-fixing scandals, the ICC banned betting logos from player kits for nearly 2 decades. But in May 2023, they reversed that ban, basically opening the floodgates for countries to make their own sponsorship deals. What's really fascinating is that as cricket opens up, other huge leagues, like the English Premier League, are going the other way. They've voted to ban these exact same sponsors. So look, beyond all the advertising loopholes and legal arguments, why does any of this actually matter?
Well, the stakes here are so much higher than just a logo on a shirt. We're talking about very real consequences for millions of people. It often boils down to this: the powerful lure of becoming a lakh petit, a millionaire overnight. These platforms use the faces of famous actors and athletes to make themselves seem credible and safe. They sell this dream of easy money. And in doing so, they target and exploit people who might be really vulnerable to that kind of promise.
And the concerns go way, way deeper. Experts and government authorities have linked these unregulated offshore platforms to a whole list of really serious problems. We're talking about your personal data getting stolen, these platforms being used for money laundering, massive tax evasion, and even potential risks to national security. This is so much more than just a clever ad campaign.
So it all leaves us with this one final thought. We watch athletes on the field playing a game with very clear rules, with referees making sure everything is fair. But in the multi-billion rupee sponsorship game happening just off the field, the rules are fuzzy and the lines are blurred. It really makes you stop and ask, when the rules can be bent this easily, who's really in control? Who is really playing the game?